live. Are you all ready?
I think
Okay,
it
amazing. I'm
should, but
so
it says the
sorry.
live streaming service on, so I feel like that's new.
Okay.
It looks like it's working. Are we?
Okay. Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Great.
Great. Thank you all for being here. Happy End of Earth Month. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties for anyone who's joining us. I know this was supposed to start almost 15 minutes ago, so thank you for your patience. And we're really excited to have you all here. Um,
Okay, hello everyone. How's
I
it going?
oh, I'm getting some feedback. Give me
Right?
one. Okay, I think we're good. So anyway, I'm surrounded here with amazing founders who are in the CPG space working to reduce plastic in their supply chains and also recover plastic with us here at Repurpose. They're really innovative, really amazing, and I would love to let them introduce themselves to you, a little bit about their companies, and then for a fun like intro, just tell us maybe what inspired you to start working in the business of reducing plastic? What inspired you to really take on this really big problem with your unique businesses? Hannah, if you want to go first, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Hannah James here, co-founder at Greenhouse. We are a plant-based beverage company located, founded in Toronto, but we ship across Canada. We've expanded into the US. Really, our mission has been to offer the highest quality plant-based nutrition, making it more widespread, more accessible, and a huge part of that is a commitment to no plastic or limited plastic in our products. I think, our aha moment. So, we started 11 years ago and we committed to being packaged in glass back then, which was a really bold, some would say stupid commitment because it wasn't, it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy. It was more expensive. It was harder to ship. It was harder to acquire, and it wasn't this industry norm. But we knew we were selling, as I mentioned, we were selling a product based in health. And for us, it was, even selfishly, we were like, we don't know. 11 years ago, there was not as much research, sorry about that, not as much research as there is now about plastics and health, but we just knew that it wasn't great. If we were having something that was a beverage that we were saying was for our health to be packaged in plastic didn't feel right. And then really, committing as the years went by, more research has come out and even the research that's coming out daily now, the staggering health effects that plastic is having and will have that we don't even know yet is making our decision even more, is really solidifying that decision. So we solidified our relationship with Repurpose to help remove plastic from because we know that it's not just an environmental crisis, it's a health crisis, and we beverage companies being the biggest polluters of plastic, are the top two polluters of plastic in the world. We knew that we needed to do something to be part of the solution, not the problem. Sorry,
I love
that was
that.
long. That was long, sorry.
No, that was perfect. I think it's so important to highlight the health impacts of plastic as well in both upstream and downstream. We are inhaling microplastics like at a crazy rate through our food and our food packaging, but then also there are plastics having super negative impacts on people, in places that don't have waste infrastructure. So I think that brings it all together so well, and definitely commend you for being in the glass bottle. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing. And whoever wants to go next would love to hear.
I can take it if no one else wants to start. So my name is Ryan Lupper, co-founder of Clean Cult. We are the first company in the world to put soap and cleaners in milk cartons instead of plastic bottles. And really started the business almost 8 years ago. Looked at the back of my bottle of laundry detergent, didn't see any ingredients listed. As you said, there's a lack of regulation. And then I looked at that big orange jug and said, is there a better way to do this? So we've really spent almost 8 years innovating on the ingredient side, on the packaging side, and on distribution to deliver really clean cleaning products from packaging to ingredients. So that's who we are.
It's amazing. Can't wait to hear more. Cherie, do you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm Cherie Hoeger. I am the founder of Saalt, and we are a reusable period care company. So essentially, products that replace traditional pads and tampons that are reusable and sustainable for the environment, also healthier for our bodies, healthier for the planet. And the reason how I got started in it is that I come from Latin heritage, and so does my husband. So my mom's from Argentina, and he's from Venezuela. And I was speaking to his aunt there, and she was describing how she just couldn't get anything on store shelves because of dictatorship, hyperinflation can lead to a bad recipe. And it got me interested in reusables so I could find long lasting solutions for her. And it also opened me up to the problem of period poverty worldwide. I realized that her lack of access to period care products actually extends to a quarter of the menstruating world, where people just are not able to access anything for their periods. And it causes girls to drop out of school, and it causes women to miss work and so forth. And obviously, as we talk about sustainability, there's 20 billion, products disposed of annually here in the US alone. And something as small as a cup like we create here can divert 3,000, pads and tampons over its lifespan of 10 years. And so sustainability is really important to me. Also, access is important to me. I have 5 daughters. I really want to see a world where, women and girls can continue in their education and in their economic progress. So that's why we started Saalt, is really to create products that were long lasting, better, that were better for the environment and so forth, create really good US made ones. And our commitment to sustainability is just inherent in our products because it naturally diverts waste. And then also, we obviously have a plastic negative certification with Repurpose. We love what you do. And we have that as one of our major pillars, is to support environmental sustainability efforts.
I love that, Cherie. I'm a huge Saalt fangirl, so this is really, really fun for me. I've been using Saalt since like 2019. So I love your product, and I think it's so true that, all of these issues are so interconnected. And it's so amazing that a reuse system and something we think of as inherently sustainable is also solving other issues like access for women to healthcare and education and all of these amazing things. So can't wait to hear more. Thank you. And Noor, do you want to go? Last but not least.
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. And thanks, Natalie, for setting this up. So I'm Noor. I am the founder of a brand called AORA Mexico. We are a clean, 100% plastic-free makeup brand from Mexico. We celebrate color, and we celebrate the beauty of the object itself. I wanted to create this brand to be plastic-free for a couple of reasons. One, it was when I realized how designed for trash makeup is. Almost over 90% of every makeup product you see, because of its size, think of a lipstick, lip gloss, mascara, it just cannot be recycled. It's just too small as a plastic. Most of them are multi-material. Most of them are black plastics. Most of them are too soiled to be recycled anyway in plastic. So we are an industry that is responsible for a lot of product waste and plastic waste in the world. That's number one. And the second one, a bit similar to Hana, is just like we thought it would be nicer. I also don't love plastic. I don't think it's a beautiful experience to have something inexpensive, beautiful product that you're paying a lot of money in come in this standard, pretty weak, quite fast to dirty up product in plastic. So we're not using plastic, one, because it's bad, unrecyclable, and number two is because we think we can do nicer and better. And being 100% plastic free, we also wanted to be plastic negative. We're actually 9 times plastic negative with Repurpose, because for every product in the world that is recycled, 9 are not. So we wanted to close that loop. There's a metaphor that has always spoken to me, which is someone calls you and your house is flooding and you get there, and what is the first thing you do? Half the people are going to start mopping the floors, and the other half are going to figure out where is the leak coming from to close it. And we want to do both. I think we are closing the tap on the plastic leak, and we're also mopping the floor slash cleaning the trash of the rest of the industry at the same time.
I love that metaphor, Nor. It's so good. And your products are luxurious. I have one of your lip balms in my pocket right now, so I figured I'd take it out and show it. But I think that's such a good metaphor to start off with, and I'd love to talk about, how we're closing the tap altogether to start out. Nor, I'll just let you keep going, and I'll ask you first. I know you have such a circular model for your products. You're using noble materials. How have you really, with your consumers, helped them understand that we're trying to apply value to waste? We don't want it to be waste anymore. What has the learning curve been like, and how do you have that conversation with your consumers?
Look, it's a difficult conversation, I have to say, because at the end of the day, I think a big issue that is out there in the world today when it comes to plastic, when it comes to waste, is awareness. We are still in a world where a lot of companies are greenwashing and a lot of consumers are wish cycling. So I know a lot of friends who are spending a lot of time cleaning up things and putting them and really thinking it's going to get recycled, and it really is not, for example. So I think the first issue is we are trying to educate and speak in a very, very simple way, but also without making the consumer feel bad. Because at the end of the day, we are coming out of years and years and years where a lot of this responsibility has been put on the consumer, which is crazy. It is absolutely not the consumer's responsibility. I think what is amazing about all of us here, we as brands, as companies, as corporations, have decided to do our part. As we are creating a product that is either durable or returnable or refillable or reusable or recyclable. And I think consumers today, they know how to recycle something that is very clear and designed. Everyone knows how to recycle a can of soup. Everyone knows how to recycle a Coca-Cola or a beer can. Everyone knows how to return a Mexican soda bottle. It's just so it's up to, because these are industries where people got together, people made standards, there's a recycling stream that is there. So I think what we are trying to tell our consumers today is that, one, we often have the conversation of how easy it is to recycle. We are still being asked, for example, our lip gloss here is 100% aluminum with absolutely zero compromise to the consumer. So it looks like a regular lip gloss or lipstick. It's a fabulous, luxurious experience in your hand. And we still get asked, where can I return it to be recycled? And it's just like, no, you don't return it anywhere. This is 100% aluminum. This used to be a can of Coca-Cola and will be again. All you have to do is, okay, it's too small. That's true. So you take it, you use any can in your house, you put it in that little hole, you crush it, so it suddenly becomes bigger than a 2x2, and that's it. It gets recycled. Same, we get asked about the palette, and this is 100% tin, even the mirror. So, and the same, this used to be a can of soup and will be again. So all you have to do is put it with your cans of garbanzo soup, anything that you're throwing away. So even when we have made it 100% recyclable, we still have so much guilt out there that has been put on the consumer, where they feel like they have to ask, should I drive my product somewhere to you so that you can dispose of it? And it's like, no, we've finally managed to do something where you can recycle this in your home by just putting it in the right recycling bin where you would put anything other that is metal.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of nesting the the bombs into the Coke cans. I think that's so genius, and education is so important, and so I love that you're bringing your consumer along the way to do it. And I think another person doing that here is Cherie for sure at Saalt. So I'd love to hear from you too. We know in this space that reuse is the future, reuse and refill are the future. And you have a like truly reusable product that's avoiding so much plastic when consumers are using it. But I'm wondering, with it not being easy already to have them adopted and having your product be such a personal product that people use, but then also having a learning curve, how have you brought your consumer along, and how do you continue to be like such a profitable and generous business while doing that?
That's such a great question. Like the examples that were shared just recently, we're all about turning off the tap first, right? We're trying to showcase that, reusable product that you can use for up to 10 years. And we've actually stress tested our products that they can last up to 40 years. So one little cup can literally be all you need for the entire 40-year average reproductive lifespan of a woman. And it replaces, and most women go through 11,000 pads or tampons during their lifespan. And so during that reproductive time. And so like that's incredible, like what this one little thing can do if we're just reusing. So that's about turning it off the tap and diverting waste. So we try to educate. We really do so by invitation, though. We don't do it by shaming, right? We don't say, hey, shame on you for using these plastic products. We say, switch, make the sustainable switch to a better way. And we really try to show it in a positive light. The other thing is that, before starting Saalt, I'd been a pad and tampon user like most of the US population. And it wasn't until I was first introduced to these reusable products that I realized, oh, these products aren't just good for emergencies or extenuating circumstances. Some people would say, oh, isn't that just for hippies? That's so granola. And when I tried them out, I had some of those same stigmas. And this is a product that's already in a stigmatized category of period care, which is already tabooed, right? So you have a stigmatized product within a stigmatized category. And I felt, oh my goodness, no, this is actually a cleaner product. I feel cleaner wearing it. It's better for my body. It's better for the environment. It's safer. It doesn't have any of these toxins and chemicals that come with tampons that, come with the cotton and the rayons and the bleaches and everything. And so it really is about education and awareness also. And it was really about how we positioned our product. So similar to creating, beautiful makeup product, we took this product and put it up on a pedestal in a beautiful paper package, right, that they could open that could be fully recyclable because it's paper, because sustainability is something that our consumers care a lot about. And we knew that the way that we positioned our brand in its beauty, in its visuals, in our voice, in our story, would really be able to combat these long-held stigmas that stifled period care innovation for so long. So we really elevated the product and said, this isn't something that's gross and it's just for hippies. This is something that's cleaner, that's better, that belongs on the same shelf as clean coal products, right? On any of the clean movement. We just needed to extend it to period care, from beauty care to also period care. So we do a lot of education and we do a lot with our brand voice to invite people in.
I love that so much. Yeah, it is totally a stigmatized topic, and it should not be. So I'm so appreciative of people like you that are doing the hard work, and yeah, I'm so glad that you're on those Target shelves just out there to see. It's amazing, and yeah, I just really appreciate everything you all are doing. So that's great to hear. And my follow-up here, and I don't know if you have the data on this because it is sort of a hidden thing we don't talk about typically, but I'm wondering, since the start of Saalt, how many tampons and pads you think have been avoided from starting your company?
Yes, that's a big number. I know that you prompted me with that, so I did some research. So if one menstrual cup diverts 3,000 pads and tampons from landfills, and that's over a 10-year life. So that's not even the 40, that's just
Right.
what it really translates to is actually as many as 9,000 pieces of trash, because you're not just looking at the tampons, you're looking at the applicator, you're looking at the boxes, you're looking at the plastic wrapper, right? Same thing with pads, you have all the wrapping that comes with it. So 9,000 pieces of trash. If we just took our donations alone, so this isn't even what we sell to our customers, but we have a 1% impact mission, where we give back 1% to donate our products across the world. We've donated over 130,000 products in 50 countries to help keep girls in school and keep women providing for their families. And if we just took that alone and times it by that 9,000 pieces of trash, then over its years of life, that would be 390 million pads and tampons and over 1.17 billion pieces of trash.
Wow.
So times that by how many we've sold to our U.S. consumer, and it's pretty astronomical.
It's amazing. That's so crazy. And yeah, that's just what you've given away. That's
Yep.
amazing. And yeah, we talk about plastic reduction, but also that like plastic avoidance is so important. And just thinking about all of those mountains of trash that could be avoided by not using the plastic product is really amazing. So thank you for all you do.
One more addition I'll say
Oh
really
yeah.
fast. We also have period underwear. So our two core products are cups, and then we also have discs, and they replace tampons, and then we have period underwear. And there's two things that we do with that, and that's that we first reuse plastic water bottles. So single-use plastic water bottles. We've almost reused 1 million of post-consumer recycled water bottles into our fabrics that are made for our recycled polyester fabrics. And then the underwear can also replace hundreds of pads. So then you have that on top of it as well. And it's underwear that can be reused for several years, depending on how long you use it. So both products.
That's so amazing. Well, and I think it's so good to give people options, and any reusable option is a good one. So that's super cool. Thank you for sharing. And talking about plastic bottles will segue, and I'll ask Hannah. Hannah, I mean, all of you work in industries that are overflowing with plastic, obviously, but Hannah, like you mentioned, the beverage industry is one of the top polluters for plastic. And I was just wondering if you had one piece of advice to give someone in the food and bev industry, who's trying to start this plastic action journey, what would it be? Because I know it's so difficult in the world of food and bev to switch to something that's not plastic. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. It's as you know, I think it's hard because there's the consumer side of things where with food and bev there's the convenience and an ease with plastic. So even our glass bottles, like there's a heaviness to it, and like I enjoy drinking out of a glass bottle more. So that I think there's pros and cons, but I think for other brands looking to kind of start that journey, it's not no action is too small. So you could, it might not be your main principal packaging that you first start with, but maybe it's the labels, like maybe it's the caps, maybe it's, you start really small. You don't do an upheaval of your whole packaging solution right at first. Like when we first started, we had plastic caps and we had a glass bottle. And then we switched to aluminum caps after that. And it's smaller increments because it is hard. It's hard to make that, especially if you have a dedicated following and consumers are accustomed to one thing. Getting them to switch it's not an easy task, but I think it's just starting small. It's not trying to think like, okay, how do we change this all? How do we become plastic negative or plastic neutral overnight? It's that you just need to start. And I think that that's the roadblock is people are like, oh, this is too big of a project. So it's not going to be a project that I start on. So it's like, what are those small incremental things that you can do and then build on that. So it's taking those small steps and just building as much as you can what it works with for the brand and what works for the consumer, how you slowly get to a place where you can feel confident that, that you can get to be plastic neutral. And that's what I also love, or plastic negative. What I love about Repurpose is that, for brands that can't, that for their own packaging, say it is too difficult, you give a solution to help getting them to that plastic neutral or plastic negative place so that they can recover, and assist with waste removal in places that don't have proper waste removal. So I think there's things brands that, again, I don't think all brands know that Repurpose exists or what they're doing. So I think that that's a huge thing, is that if you can't really fathom like removing plastic from your own supply chain, it's like there are things you can be doing as a brand to be part of the solution.
I love that. It's like you said, you just start small and go from there. Like nothing's too small, and I think that's such a good message. And I'd love to hear too that switch to aluminum caps. How was that perceived? Like how has that gone? And yeah, what benefits have you seen from it since that happened?
Yeah, I think so it went really well. We were very fast, we did it within a year. So we we decided we were making the switch. We did it quite quickly. Obviously there's been bumps, there's especially with our equipment, it's like the figuring out how we tighten the lids, are they too tight? Are they not tight, not tight enough? So there was some learning curves for us in the process of making the switch. But I think a very positive reaction from our consumer. It was just showing that, that growth is always possible. Even though we're packaged in glass, it's our major source of packaging. It's like we can still do more. Growth is always possible. We're always looking to continue to grow and improve the brand and improve our use of plastic. And so we had a really great reaction to that. Again, it makes it I personally think the aluminum goes well with better with the glass. I like the feel of it together. So it's been great. And now it's funny when I look back at pictures of the plastic cap, I'm like, wow, what a different what a different time. It feels like a very long time ago, even though it wasn't that long.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad it has gone well, and like you said, I mean, I you all work with us to recover plastic, and that's, the cleaning, mopping up the floor, like Nor said, that's the side of it that also is a solution in this problem. I think it's a not an either or, but a both. And, we know that even if we meet our corporate commitments, we will still triple our plastic in the ocean by 2030. And so we really do need both. And so appreciate you saying that and all of you being committed to that because it's definitely an all hands on deck sort of situation. And Ryan, that leads me to you. You are working in an industry that doesn't even have solutions outside of plastic for some packaging components. And so I'd love to hear just how you're rethinking this industry with your refillable products. I know I just recently used your laundry sheets that are completely plastic free, which are amazing. So yeah, walk me through your just the start of this business and the hurdles you faced and how you've brought consumers along with you on this ride.
Yeah, I think everyone's been on a journey in their own businesses about the evolution of their brands and meeting customers. And I think we've done the same, right? So we started actually with filled and refillable glass bottles and realized they're a bit too premium for this category. So actually moved to filled and refillable aluminum bottles and paired those with our carton refills. Cleaning is a tough space, right? Because you have usually the heaviest packaging in stores, so it's some of the largest polluters in grocery behind food and beverage from like a total bottles category, but no one's quite cracked this category, right? So you have retailers asking for zero waste. You have these big consumer giants trying to push this, but consumers not quite going over the hurdle to buy yet, right? So you've got a lot of brands that have tried to do this with concentrates or with tablets or with vials. Nothing quite has clicked. So we've really basically been spending the last 8 years. How could we still deliver a reduction of plastic, but do it in a way that actually meets shoppers, retailers, and these big businesses where they are? So for the earlier years, we had really tough margins, right? 3 years at very like teens or lower margins. Only now, I think, finally we're seeing the scale. We just launched nationwide in Costco and a bunch of other major retailers, but it's a tough space. Again, for us, we basically found that the consumer isn't willing to pay a premium at scale. So, but they do care about plastic. So it's like, how do we meet them at this price point, but still remove plastic from the category? And I don't think there's a beautiful, metaphor that Nor shared. It's not one or the other, but it's a challenging space, and I think we're basically trying to straddle those opportunities, being mass but still meeting the price point.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I mean, the consumers are facing a lot of struggles in this economy, and so it's totally great to acknowledge that. And I know there are a lot of brands out there that would would really hesitate to make sustainable decisions for their packaging, just knowing that it could compromise the performance or the profit of their products. And yeah, I was just wondering what would be your advice to those brands?
Yeah, I think for us, and again, I think everyone here, it's you can't sacrifice a great product experience or price for less plastic, right? So Nour's case, beautiful containers that elevate the experience without plastic, or beautiful water bottles that elevate the experience but without plastic. I think in the early days, we thought that the lack of plastic could be one of our main value props, and I think it still is, but we've had to re-escalate ingredient integrity, efficacy, packaging, scent, and yet we also have a lot less or no plastic, right? So I think for us, it still goes back to the basics. It's like if anyone wants to solve these problems, they have to solve the core consumer problem, and then they have to complement it with a reduction of waste solution. So I think that's the really fine balance that consumer brands have to balance here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you all do it really well, and I think that's great advice for sure. So thank you for sharing that. And I know we've talked a lot about upstream solutions and how we're reducing, but would love to talk about the recovery efforts you all make as well. You've all really made bold and ambitious commitments to recover plastic, and you all have other partnerships as well that are really strong, and you do a lot for the environment. Cherie, I wanted to start with you. I mean, you were mentioning earlier all of the work you do with women. I know you're a certified B Corp. How has plastic recovery fit into that piece of being such a large impact organization? Yeah, and it helped your social mission and environmental mission.
Yeah, I mean, as a certified B Corp, CSR is really, really important to us. And sustainability is just inherent and core to who we are. And it really matches our core values. Like I'm the type of person who goes and I fish trash, recyclable trash out of our trash cans. I'm continually teaching our team, where things go. And I do it here at home and do it wherever I see. I pick up trash when I, walk on hikes and so forth, because it's just who I am. And so it's really about just educating that. But yeah, as far as our plastic recovery efforts go, we knew that our products inherently diverted, massive amounts of waste, which is a great start to turn off the tap. But we wanted to go above and beyond, which is why we got this certification with Repurpose Global to also have retrieval, projects. And so we have those with Repurpose Global. We've done a project in Indonesia and India. Both are just amazing, especially collecting low waste plastics that usually don't have a lot of value that are then put into unique, recyclable programs like making them into bricks. And we love especially that they are supporting female workers specifically, because we're all about women's progress, and that, being able to lift one lifts the whole, and lift this demographic and really lifts the whole. And so to be able to provide those jobs for low waste workers is just incredible. And, and since third world nations are those that usually see most of the plastic and waste that we have in the US goes to these nations, right? And so they're seeing so much more than they should deserve to, because they're taking all this plastic waste as well. So that's one area that we do. We also have a partnership with Sustainable Coastlines Hawaii, which we absolutely love. They do these massive volunteer efforts where they go and they clean up beaches from all the plastic that ends up on the Hawaii's beaches. And so with them and Repurpose, we've recovered over 200,000 pounds of waste. And these are direct funding efforts. And we're still a small company. We have our 1% give back mission as part of being a B Corp, and we donate products. And we have three major pillars, and that's improving menstrual health. And that's also improving girls' education. So we fund direct annual scholarships for girls, and then these direct cleanup efforts. And it's one of our smallest areas of our mission, but we're still able to make such a dent, even just with that 1%.
That's so amazing. Yeah. And kind of going back to what Hannah said, it's like you just need to start, and you are, and you make such a big dent just by doing so. And it's so amazing the work you've done. And like you said, plastic recovery isn't just about plastic. It's providing dignity to people who didn't necessarily ever have a formal job before, especially women. And so yeah, I love that point, and think it's so important that it's not just about plastic. It's about so many other things as well.
Well, and it's about connecting the dots for the consumer. So one of the stories that we tell around that is that tampon applicators are one of the most common items found on beaches, which is why we focus on beaches, because it directly, aligns with what our purpose is and story. And, a tampon applicator will last longer than the lifespan of the woman who wears it in plastic, right? And so you tell those stories and people have these connections. They're like, oh, okay, these end up so much in our waterways and in our oceans. And so if I'm able to make a sustainable switch, support a company like Saalt that's also trying to do these direct cleanup efforts, then they're able to make a dent as a consumer in so many ways, which is great.
That's so amazing. That gave me chills. That is the fact about the tampon applicator on the beach. Is a really scary one, and so, thank you for sharing that. And I know we don't have too much time left. And so I'd love to just open the floor. Hannah, Noor, Ryan, Cherie, if you have anything else to share about your plastic journey, about plastic recovery, about your passions and your products. I'd love to hear it in the last few minutes we have together. Nor maybe, do you want to share anything? I know I guess I could ask even like you're completely plastic free. What made you want to also recover plastic? You're not even using any plastic at all.
Uh, well, first of all, I wanted to work with you guys. I was at Sustainable Brands last year. It wasn't part of honestly what we were doing. I think as a brand, we thought it was enough that we are 100% plastic free, and that is something that we can be proud of already and pushing. Um, at the same time, we kept thinking about how do we really make that a bigger platform of education. And I think part of thinking, how can we tell the consumer about the problem? It felt wrong a bit to keep talking about the problem without being part of the solution to that problem. Part of that solution, of course, was to cut our own usage of plastic, but we wanted to be part of something as well. I think one maybe personal feeling I have being plastic free, or even fighting the waste, or even admitting the waste problem in the makeup industry is a very, very, very lonely place. Very, extremely. I am in an industry that is extremely greenwashy, that has all the solutions in front of us, and we're not doing much about it. We're not. The big companies out there have solutions for their lipsticks, have solutions for their palettes, have solutions for a lot of their products, and they're not doing it. They are not doing it because they're afraid that a consumer might not recognize the product, that they're afraid of being a bit more expensive, that they're afraid that they're not going to be able to put a lipstick weighted in I don't know what with 700 decos on top of it to make it metallized and to make it look like, unfortunately, that you're buying a metal product that's actually plastic. And so it's lonely out there. And for me, being able to join a network, a community of different brands and different individuals and different organizations was a bit motivating for us, was making us feel like we're part of something bigger. And it is, because we're not only stopping our own, but we're part of something that allows us to um, tell our consumer a bit more about the problem, because we're able with you guys to see the problem, to face it, because we're looking exactly at where the recovery efforts are happening, and we're looking and seeing what is there and what is being recovered and how are we doing it. So it was mostly that. I think it was being able to connect the dots for us and being able to be part of something a bit bigger than just stopping plastic on our own.
Love that. Yes, and it's so great being part of a community where we can have these conversations and it doesn't feel so lonely. And so I appreciate that take and hopefully we can keep having conversations like this. I really appreciate everything you all have to say. Ryan, Hannah, do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up for the day, for the Earth Month day?
I think on our end, look, I do think things are shifting. I think it just takes a long time. I think there's consumer adoption that's growing. I think retailers are still experimenting with different form factors. I think even though a lot of like the US Plastics Pact have delayed from 2025 to 2030, they're still making progress. So I think like behavior change just takes a long time, right? So I think there's still a lot of reasons to be hopeful, and I think products are increasing the distribution that are better. So I think it's just a matter of time.
Love that.
Yeah, Ryan, I would say I definitely agree. I think that we're going to see a lot of change hope in the next over the next few years. I think the most promising is just the consumer. I know that we don't need to put responsibility on the consumer, but what's great is consumers are more like, they want to take on responsibility. They want to be part of the solution as well. So choosing better products and knowing what they're putting into their bodies and how that, how it's all full circle is just such an amazing thing to see consumers asking questions and um, making choices on their products based on these things. So I think it's very promising for all of us here to be here and know that, seeing our consumers do that. And I think it's exciting. There is hope and there is excitement of development. So thank you for having us today to kind of chat and bring us all together. It was great meeting all of you as well today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all you do, all of you. Thank you for your partnership, and for all you're doing just to make the world a better place, regarding plastic, but then everything else you do as well. And I'm really so glad to be connected with you all and be working with you. So happy Earth Month, and thank you for joining us in this really fun conversation.
Likewise, thanks for having us.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks.